It's Wednesday evening once again here at the Tirconaill Tribune, and this is John Mackett here and Eamon McFadden to have a look at today's edition, which is the 8th of July 2021. A lot of stuff in the paper this week, Eamon, again.
News has definitely picked up now this last while with people out and about again and the lockdown being lifted, so it's
different things beginning to happen.
Aye, definitely.
Like today we're going to start with this story on the Milford major concerns over this Milford Junction.
Yeah, that's just, I suppose, exactly on the topic, John, that of more people on the roads and what have you. There's an ongoing concern. It's been going on Milford now for over, best part of 10 years or more.
Yeah, more actually.
More than that even now. And but after another accident at the junction of the old tech school, that's the Carrigart Road coming into Milford, where it meets the Tirconaill Road coming in that way, the Church Road coming out of Milford Town, and then the road also coming out of the very centre of Milford Town as well. So a four-way junction there, big wide open sweeping junction, and it seems to be, for whatever reason, and I know it's been looked at a number of times, that yet again they can't seem to get a grip on it to stop the number of accidents. Last Sunday, significant crash again between two cars. A number of people taken away to hospital, but thankfully nobody seriously injured.
But the reality here is, that this bypass has led to major problems right there, because there's added another road. And ever since that bypass opened 11 and a half years ago, there's been accidents, maybe 10 and 12 per year. Some of them are fairly minor, some of them are scrapes, some of them are quite serious. But the community says that this junction is a fatality waiting to happen. And unfortunately it is. And having a guy drive, I've already driven that junction 3 times today. Whatever is about it, those of us who live here and who are fully aware of it, we don't fully appreciate the lack of signage that's on it.
Yeah,
and the signage that's on it is right out on the junction.
And grown over in places
just
too.
Grown over, branches of trees hanging down there, and you just wonder, what did nobody mention this to anybody in the council, or how this has been allowed to happen? Because every attempt needs to be made by the local authority to ensure that no accidents can happen. And
like you see it even there today now. Like we're heading into like the height of summer now, and even today Milford is busy with traffic, and there's a number of points where people, I suppose it's all contained in that one-way system. Coming in by McBride's old shop there's a yield sign that virtually nobody seems to yield at. Particularly visitors don't seem to know. It's just slightly off the road. It's not particularly well marked.
There's a huge issue at that junction with heavy goods vehicles there. There isn't actual ample space for them to negotiate that junction.
No, not together.
And then you have a very sharp turn right up the hill, and then another one left. But at that point, you should be seeing warning signs of dangerous junction ahead.
You should.
But you're not seeing those. No. You're not seeing that. From what I can see, numbers of us today and yesterday, and indeed over the years since that new road opened into that junction.
They need to be forewarned more coming into town, I think. But Liam Blaney made a point. I was speaking to Liam there, the councillor, local area councillor, and he says that junction out at the Old Tech and Church Road, that area has been looked at, he maintains, to probably slightly narrow that from the big wide junction it is, in an effort to bring it down. That's something that has been looked at, and he's anticipating that hopefully that work will start in September. We'll have to certainly keep a close eye on that.
But after 11 and a half years of waiting for something to be done there, we have written about that on numerous occasions. It has been on Highland Radio numerous occasions,
continuously,
including this week. And you begin to wonder, why has nothing been done here to sort of lessen the potential for collisions? Because at this day of the year, you have people with camper vans and all this kind of thing, literally driving right through that junction. And then when you go out and drive slowly and analyse it, you're virtually on the junctions before you see the signage.
Yeah, for sure.
The signs are literally on the junction, but 500 metres further back, there's no real signage to warn of a dangerous junction ahead.
Yeah.
But anyway,
has to be
we'll get that off our chest, and then we're going to move on further to do with my script, because you think we're just making this all up. We're dealing with this buzz of activity in Rathmullen, and I had a very special trip to Rathmullen during the weekend there to meet very nice people in the Tidy Towns Committee. Well, actually, I met with Hazel Russell, Eilish McGlynn, and Declan Meehan, there's 10 of a committee there. They were reformed about 4 years ago, and they've just had 2 judgments in the meantime. They're kind of beginning to look at a 3 to 5 year plan. Rathmullen is a town that has so much history about it, has so much to offer, sitting right on the seaside, the Kinniger Beach.
Flight of the Earls and all of these.
The amount of marine activities. Bats Walk, the battery's undergoing work now. Rathmullen, the Way Forward group, they're doing a huge amount of work there.
The sailing club and all
The
that.
the sailing club, and you have the ferry coming and going this time of the year, and the place is buzzing. But it's buzzing for a different reason with the Tidy Towns Committee, because they're promoting the pollinator project, which I found quite fascinating. Because there's nice, beautiful signage there by Moira McHugh, and they filled me in over a couple of hours on a whole lot of stuff that they want to focus on over the next 5 years. Rathmullen, for a start, has a very good built infrastructure, and that most of the buildings look very, very well. There's only one derelict building there that they're addressing now.
In the whole of Rathmullen. It's a very well presented town, always has been.
Yeah, like every town can do a little bit more to brighten things up, both, as they said. And I don't want anybody from Rathmullen getting on to me with this. But when someone mentions the fact that the place could do with a lick of paint here and there. But you see, it's sitting very close to the sea. The facade of the buildings takes a fair whack. But the town looks very, very well. But as they say, a lot more can be done, and they have this 3 to 5 year plan, but that has to go to the public. But they would also appreciate more of a buy-in from the community. It seems to be left to about 10 people. And that's not near enough, because it's a very, very big area which begins right out at the very edge of the town, out at where the old hotel, where the hotel is on the way in. That's no longer used there. The what do you call it?
The Water's Edge.
The Water's Edge there, and that goes on down towards the Narcalla Coast Road. It's a big area, and the built-up area is very big. And you go down Bats Walk, which is an absolutely beautiful, brimming with history and heritage. They're focusing on all that, but they're doing this reuse, recycled type of stuff, and they've come up with this Iron Man edifice just on the shorefront there, just beyond the perimeter of the car park. And it's how to reuse rubbish in a very meaningful way, and there's a lovely picture there in the paper that captures it.
Oh yeah, spectacular. They're very nice pictures, actually.
That there is made from scrap iron, metal bits and pieces, but in here they have the kind of things, that's the base of it, is what people would dump rather than taking them home and recycling them. And guess what, this has now become a place for dumping. So if you're listening to me out there and you're dumping down at the Iron Man in Rathmullen, you're breaking the law, and you could end up on the pound and get 10 years penal servitude. But anyway, fair play to
nice pictures, John. Looks very colourful.
The pollinator stuff is absolutely beautiful. A lovely bench there at the moment, in memory of a great lady in Rathmullen called Molly Stanford, and they're going to find a location for that now. That's not a permanent location for us in, but it was a great evening out, and fair play to them. They're full of enthusiasm and energy, but common sense as well, because there are things that you're going to achieve with a bit of effort and a bit of work. But in a town like Rathmullen, you know, the work that they're doing is very noticeable at the moment, because this upcycling and recycling. You see the old Wellingtons filled with
flowers,
flowers
looking,
and you see the old rusty bicycles of yore, newly painted, and the old carriers. They're plant holders now, and the whole
lot of colour to the place.
It's very imaginative, and it's a signal lesson in what can be done with a little bit of invention and enthusiasm.
Yeah, good on them. More power to them.
We'll probably be back again when they won the Tidy Towns next year.
Yes, good on
them. If we get back to any kind of normality. From that, we're moving on then to Liam Mulroney, Memorial Run.
Yeah, there's a nice feature. It's Bose's cap with an absolutely great picture of all the people that took part in the Liam Mulroney Memorial motorbike run. They're all the big group. There's dozens and dozens of them all involved in their biker leathers up outside Fanad Lighthouse. A very iconic picture for there. But Basically, that was a motorcycle run in memory of the late Liam Mulroney, Glencar Scotch, Letterkenny, and it took place there on the 26th of June. A fantastic turnout, obviously, with his friends and colleagues in the biking community, and they raised a tremendous sum of over 16,580 that's going to be donated now to the Donegal Hospice. So his family, I've understand, were completely overwhelmed by that there, and Cara Mulroney, who said that it was such an emotional roller coaster of a day, but such a lovely way to remember Liam on his first anniversary, and a lovely way to fall asleep on Saturday night with the sound of bike engines still ringing in my ears and the old familiar smell of bike fumes. So that was a lovely piece there. Where
and it's all set off against that magnificent picture there.
That's it. It's a great achievement. That's no
Sylvester
small amount of money.
Mm-hmm. It's a stunning photograph, just with the lighthouse in the background.
Yeah, but that's obviously a great sense of community and kinship and friendship with Liam, their departed colleague. So that's a wonderful thing. The cheque has been presented over to them, to the hospice now as well, and it has been well received by them. So that's
right. We'll move on from there. We're going to take a look back at 20 years ago. In fact, again, it was Thursday the 8th of July 2021, as of almost identical. We see celebrations as 3 new priests are ordained. His Lordship Bishop Philip Boyce is pictured following the ordination ceremony in St Eunice Cathedral on Sunday with the 3 new priests, Father Rory Brady, Father Martin Timoney and Father Brian O'Farry, who seem to have much shorter hair then than he has now, believe it or not. And then there's a stunning headline here, 12.4 million for social housing, and the issues of social housing in Donegal was brought into focus at Donegal County Council on Tuesday when approval for revised loan arrangements were approved. This ran to 12.407 million, and this covers developments in Dunloe, Bundoran, Rathmullen and Carrigart. And that was 139 new units of housing being developed under this method of voluntary housing, and the agencies involved with the council. We had St Pancras and the Northwest Housing Group. I suppose that was 20 years ago. And on another 20 years ago page we have a picture of Councillor Kieran Brogan getting the chain of office at the Letterkenny Urban District Council from the outgoing chair. That was Councillor Jean Crossan.
Would that be Kieran's first time, maybe, perhaps, would it?
First time for what?
For the chain of office?
20 years ago. He's not that old. No. He's not really that
Forgive
old.
me, Kieran.
No, it could be his first time.
Could have been, very good.
But anyway, we'll move back to our 2 front page stories again. Very special this Wednesday morning down at Drumnacarry. You can take up that story for us.
It was today was as you say, rightly pointed, special day for the it was a day for the whole of the community of Creasla, and in fact it stretches well beyond that too, because up at Drumnacarry, Creasla is one of the access points closest to the old Owen Carrow Viaduct, and many people will know that the famous story of the crash there in 1925 that claimed the lives of 4 people. But the Creasla Community Association have been working away tirelessly in the last number of months to create a beautiful, absolutely fantastic memorial, 2 memorials in fact, sitting side by side up there at a viewpoint now overlooking the viaduct, and they've spearheaded this so that they'll be ahead of the curve now when the centenary of that event is going to be celebrated now in 4 short years' time. So the one part of it is a memorial stone that has been taken actually up from the viaduct site itself, along with a step of one of the old rail carriages that was destroyed in the night, and then there's one in Irish as well. So it was a great occasion, introduced, unveiled by Kathleen Doyle, a local resident whose uncle Neil Duggan was one of the ones killed in the crash. Joining her was quite a number of people from Ironmore Island, where 2 of the people, Phil and Sarah Boyle, were died.
It's all there in the Tribune this week, and lovely pictures on page 2 along with that. But we're going to go to our final story, our lead story, which is bigger entitlement claims, a load of rubbish. This is according to Malcolm Thompson, the chair of the Donegal ICSA, and who report that as farm organisations remain divided over the new cap proposals, Malcolm Thompson, chair of the ICSA in Donegal, says claims that the bigger entitlements were hard earned is a load of rubbish. Mr Thompson said those earning most from cap for the past 21 years do not have any right to take or to make these claims, because it was really the luck of the draw, and there were some that just seemed to get much luckier than others. And it goes on to deal with the losers as well, and especially in the whole REPS era. That was the Rural Environmental Protection Scheme, which seemed to be a very worthwhile one, but it was later discarded in favour of the current system. But that is all changing right now, and is moving away to more environmentally friendly stuff. But that is our lot for this week. Join us again next week. In the meantime, listen to our podcast. We're on Tirconaill Tribune.ie, where you can read all that's in the news today. Thanks for listening.